The government has called a snap national cabinet meeting as Omicron surges. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because the government has called a snap national cabinet meeting as the COVID emergency deepens and Omicron surges. Let's have a look at this article from in Queensland. So, Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced the emergency meeting after a surge in virus cases in New South Wales and Victoria, as well as smaller jumps in Queensland and South Australia. With Christmas holiday arrangements thrown into chaos as the Omicron variant spreads throughout the country, the leaders will be under pressure to ensure some certainty for travellers and tourism and hospitality businesses. National Cabinet was initially not scheduled to reconvene until early next year, but Morrison said leaders needed to fine-tune approaches to Omicron as more becomes known about the new variant. He urged states and territories not to bring back restrictions on travel ahead of Christmas. We would urge state and territory leaders to be calm and consistent messages be given about travel arrangements and the requirements, he told reporters in Brisbane on Monday. It's not unusual. We would be meeting more regularly with Omicron being where it is. When we last met, we made some decisions, and it's a good opportunity to update on all of that before Christmas. Experts are warning of a surge in cases in Australia during the Christmas and New Year period due to interstate travel and large gatherings. Another 49 locally acquired COVID-19 cases have emerged in Queensland, with face masks and booster shots recommended amid concerns about a potential Omicron super spreader event. New South Wales recorded 2,500 new daily cases, with 261 people in hospital. Of those, 33 are in intensive care. Victoria reported 1,302 additional infections. The state has 406 people in hospital, including 81 in intensive care. South Australia recorded 105 new infections. While there were 59 in Queensland, the ACT recorded 13 cases and Tasmania 3. 3 new infections were also confirmed in the Northern Territory as it extended a lockdown in the town of Tennant Creek until Wednesday. It has also opened to fully vaccinated travellers and has scrapped quarantine requirements for arrivals. Labor Deputy Leader Richard Marles accused the coalition government of leaving Australia behind other nations when it came to booster shots. Scott Morrison has stuffed up the rollout of the vaccine initially this year. Now we're seeing it happen again with the booster, he said. The Omicron variant obviously creates another dimension to needing to deal with the virus, and I think it's going to continue to throw challenges up for us. More than 1 million people have already received their COVID-19 booster shot, with take-up growing as Omicron cases increase. The decision to reduce the gap between second and third doses to 5 months means up to 4 million people will be eligible for a booster this year. The Prime Minister maintained Australia had enough boosters to meet demand with 13 million doses in the country. There was some pressure, but that's been overcome now, and people will be able to get on and get their booster over the course of the summer break, he said. Morrison played down the prospect of states and territories bringing back harsher pandemic measures, as is happening in Europe. Masks will be mandatory indoors in Tasmania from Tuesday. Queensland has mandated masks in hospitals and retail shops, considered essential, but recommends people wear them elsewhere indoors. New South Wales is resisting calls to tighten its pandemic response, including bringing back masks indoors. Premier Dominic Perrottet says it's a matter of personal responsibility. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Even if they don't have mask mandates and a significant enough proportion of the population voluntarily choose to do that to reduce the spreading rate of the virus, it will make an impact. So people can, if they want to, voluntarily choose to do it. No one's going to stop you. No one should criticize people for choosing to do that. And it's New South Wales. They have the choice. The new Queensland cases emerged after 13,595 tests in the 24 hours to 6:30 a.m. on Monday. However, only one unvaccinated case has been seriously ill and is recovering. Fantastic news. Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk says the jump was expected, with 197,546 border passes issued for people from interstate COVID-19 hotspots in the past week. We strongly recommend that you wear a mask in an indoor setting. So we're not mandating it, but I will be wearing my mask when I go in and out of cafes or restaurants. And when you're sitting there, you can take your mask off, Ms. Palaszczuk told reporters before getting her vaccine booster on Monday. This is just an added precaution until we get to the 90% fully vaccinated rate. But also, too, we need Queenslanders to get their booster. It's really important. If your boosters are due, please go and get your boosters. Of the 49 local cases, 16 were linked to known cases, 9 were interstate acquired, and 24 were under investigation. Another 10 cases were recorded in quarantine, with at least one of those overseas acquired. Queensland's Chief Health Officer, John Garrard, says 13 cases are Omicron and 8 are Delta, with the variant of the other 38 unknown. Brisbane, the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Toowoomba and Townsville have new cases, with Dr. Garrard concerned about a potential Omicron super spreader event in Brisbane last Monday. More than 2,670 people attended the Griffith University graduation ceremony for nurses and paramedics at the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre on that day. Well, at least the exhibition centre is quite large, so you'd have hopefully a lot of air... Oh, actually, the air changeover probably wouldn't be that much. Garrett said there was already 15 cases linked to the event, including some Omicron cases, and more were expected. It's likely that the Hall episode will be an Omicron cluster, the chief health officer said. There are 66 people in hospital and 32 being treated at home, but only one COVID-19 patient has been moderately ill during the last week. She was unvaccinated and is recovering. Garrett said it was likely the hospitals and ICU numbers would pick up over coming weeks due to the lag time on virus symptoms developing. So it will be very instructive to learn in the next 1 to 2 weeks what pattern we will see in the hospitals. The latest figures show 84.7% of Queenslanders are fully vaccinated and 89.8% have at least had one jab. Now, this is the thing, everyone. The ICU impact of the Omicron virus. The issue with coronavirus, or this COVID-19, is that the hospitalization, and if you are in the ICU, the length of time you have to stay there compared to other illnesses is much longer. And that is why they're afraid of it swamping the system. That's the reason, everyone. As opposed to a few days in ICU, you could be there for weeks. And that means impacting anyone who goes there for other causes in the hospital and won't have access to the ICU. Now, let's have a look at what's happened in South Africa. This is from Johns Hopkins, and we can see here the weekly cases surging up to 140,000. So if we go back 2 weeks, we can see here it was at 70,000. Now, that 70,000 should be in line with the weekly deaths that we're seeing now. That's how the incubation period. So we've got 211,000. We haven't seen an uptick in deaths, but look at that surge here. Even if we go back here to, 31.5. I mean, there you go, guys. We have not seen an uptick yet in the deaths. If we have a look here, you can see, and I'll scroll down a bit more, you can see the vaccination shot up, doses administered, and they're slowly tapering off. But that's good news. Now, if we keep an eye on South Africa, one things we need to consider is their demographics are different to ours. Their population aged over 65 isn't as large as Australia's due to some of the other illnesses that are spreading through the subcontinent. Anyway, guys, hopefully this will be our ticket out of the pandemic. What do you reckon? Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out this video on my HeiseSays Realpolitik channel about fears of Omicron surging and people trying to get the government to reinstate masks, mandates, and restrictions. Take care. I'll see you all in the next episode.